may as well get started. There's enough people in here, so I'll do the regular introduction. G'day everyone, DJ DARQs here with another 2DX player interview. Today I'm doing something a bit different. I mean, usually we've had 10th and Kaiden level players on, but that's a bit of a twist. I thought I'd interview someone who's very well known, but not for his 2DX skills. Now this guy is an absolute legend in the dancing game community. Recently he's been doing stuff like charity events, raising $16,000 for cancer, which is just massive in my mind. Player who I've really idolized, playing dancing games and whatnot. All introductions aside, let's say hello to DJ ICNH, I keep saying inch, ICNH, or Jeff Lloyd as it's normally known. Say hi, Jeff.
How's it going, guys?
So why don't you give us a bit of background about yourself? Tell us where you're from, all about jazz. I mean, I'm pretty sure most people know, but the foreign people who watch these videos, give yourself a bit of an introduction.
Sure. So, originally born and raised in New Jersey. Lived there for 18 years of my life. I started DDR in 2003, so I was 12 years old. I'm 22 right now. So 10 years ago I started DDR, transitioned to arcades, transitioned to In the Groove when it came out. And then in 2010 I moved to California to go to Stanford University, where I currently attend full-time as a CS student. And I'm graduating in a month. And I'm starting a job in San Francisco in September. So that's basically all there is to me.
Oh, there's probably a lot more than that. So yeah, dancing games have obviously been a big part of your growing up, I guess, just like any player did. So tell me a bit about like the dancing game community. I mean, what was it like, sort of, the transition of the community there? Because I mean, I always focus on the 2DX community. I'm just wondering at first, like, what's the community been like in your area, and then comparing that to California? Just give me a rundown of community.
Yeah, sure. So, I guess I first started getting integrated into the community when I started playing in arcades, and it was kind of like brutal at first. Like this is I guess like 2004 and stuff. And there was a very famous arcade that I went to called Sports World. They were famous. They had a legit extreme machine, which was something that not most arcades had. Oh, yeah. And so it was this big hotspot. And so like this was back in the time when like you put your coin up on the machine. And if you weren't there, you didn't get skipped. You got moved to the back of the line.
Oh, wow, what?
So, and this is, playing on a Saturday night, there's 20 people waiting in line. And if you don't play, if you're not there, you're gone. So it was kind of brutal sometimes. And you had to get accustomed to that sort of, tough love treatment from the community.
Yeah.
But I would say, overall, once I started getting to play more and having a few machine locations that I went to. It's very competitive. There were a lot of people that pushed me to get better, and a lot of people I looked up to. My friend Jimbo is who's also kind of known in the 2DX community. At least he was back for CS styles. He was always much better than me, and I wanted to hit his level.
Yeah.
And in tournaments and stuff, you always had people who would enter any tournament no matter how well they thought they'd do, if they could place first or they place 32nd. They'll always enter and they'll always try, and so that always gave me a motivation, everyone else is entering, I'm going to enter too. Even if I don't win, I just want to see how I stack up.
I really liked that, actually, just the fact that people came together. They didn't care how they did, whereas I think now that idea's really changed. I mean... Yeah,
that's... In comparison to, you mentioned a little bit about comparing it to California, and one thing I noticed about California is that people tend to take competitions less seriously. So that's one of the reasons I started Best of the West.
So you started Best of the West?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That was my brainchild.
Oh wow, that's huge. I mean, people have been talking to me about Best of the West for the past few months, just saying I'm so hyped for it. But... Yeah,
it's so basically I was sitting around with a bunch of friends and thinking, there's a big tournament series called Kings of the Coast. It used to be called Champions of the Coast at In the Break, which is where I used to go to those tournaments. It's so much fun. And I was like, man, why don't we have something that over on the West Coast? And I was like, well, I guess we should just make it, right? So it's because Figgle has so many music games, it's basically like another 8 in the Break. So let's run a 10 tournament weekend event and get people excited about competing even though they might not win. And you know,
It's picking up, isn't it? I mean, I've heard that
response has been. I wish it didn't increase the second year. So we've run it for 2 years. We're running a third this year. I'm hoping we have a better turnout this year. But
well, I know for 2DX especially. I mean, a lot of people have said, okay, yeah, this year I'm going to give it a shot. And there's a lot of people. I think even DJ Rhea is coming across from Hawaii to participate.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah. So
that'd be awesome.
So yeah,
I'm so excited. Like, I love hearing people that like are willing to book a plane ticket. That's like it's a big commitment. But I think like if you talk to people who, it's a little bit of like shameless self promotion. Like if you talk to people who do enter and do play, like they agree that it's like a really well run tournament. Prizes are good, environment's good. We try to make it for the players.
Yeah.
So we do have to wrestle with Spiggle a little bit for certain things, but like we transitioned from the first year we had wristbands, which we got a lot of feedback that people didn't like them, especially 2DX where you have to like it might get in the way or something. So I went out for the second year and I bought lanyards for everyone, so everyone now could like put on a lanyard and take it off while they're playing, so that they could still be identified as entrants in the tournament, but it wouldn't impact their play. So stuff like
well,
trying to do stuff like that. So we, it's a good time.
There's always the shirt idea, get that shirt. But I think that'll impede on 2DX players because I know that they all have their special shirts that they want to wear. So
well, we do sell the shirts and everything, but but it's not mandatory or anything. And
yeah. Well, I think like just having an idea to identify people with that lanyard idea is beautiful. I mean, I never would have thought of it. Yeah, we'll keep going. So you're enjoying the community over there, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's different. It's very different, but it's given me a couple like good, varied perspectives on how different communities work. It's like there's a very minimal dance game community out here, but the other music game community like Poppin and 2DX is massive.
Oh yeah, so much
it's so much fun to see like how people are similar, how people are different.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, so we'll shift it to the main theme for today, which is 2DX. So how did you get into 2DX? I mean, I've never really spoken to any dancing game players about this, but what was the transition? Because I know you were big on dancing games. Like, when did you decide, no, I'll pick this up, I'll see how it goes?
Yeah, well, I guess it was actually Kings of the Coast, like, back in 2008 or something, where I decided, like, I want to actually try to win Kings of the Coast. To do that, I need to win 2D, like, I need to place 2DX.
Yeah.
Or actually get some points, because every tournament matters, so you have to get some points.
Oh, wow, okay.
And so I bought, this was right around the time, I guess, I don't know when US Beatmania came out, but I did buy it. I do have a copy of US Beatmania.
Oh.
So I have a US KOC, and Jimbo, my friend, just... yeah. Well, I started on that, and then my friend, I got a Swap Magic and stuff like that, so my friend Jimbo burned me every style, up to Empress and whatever, so... I would basically, I played Red a lot. Red was my favorite.
Red is a great style.
I really enjoyed it, and then so I would I tried to get better, but it didn't really like materialize. And then I came out to Spiggle and California and everything, and so I played a lot on their 2DX machine.
Yeah.
I could do like 8s when I got here.
Oh, wow, okay. Yeah.
And then so I would play like my favorite songs, and then. My friend has a 2DX machine in his garage, so I would play there.
I have heard about that machine, and I've heard it's pretty good. So
yeah, there's a couple more machines in the area, but at this time it was Billy JR's machine. And yeah, so like I would play and I would try to get better. I was passing some 9s, whatever, and then I tried to like up until like when I was in Japan last year.
Yeah.
I was able to do 10s. This is like playing very, very on and off.
Oh, yeah.
I would basically play 2DX when the DDR machines were busy or something like that.
That's funny, actually.
Then recently, my friend got a machine. This is Daniel Lee.
Yeah.
And I decided, you know what, like I want to get better at 2DX. I'm sick of being a scrub in 2DX, so let me go through and hard clear every 8. And so like I started with that. That was my first goal, and I did it. And so now I'm breaching 11s. But I'm not very good. I'm good at timing, but I'm not good at comboing. I'm very bad. Like I don't use my thumbs at all. I do this.
Wait, what?
I can't use my thumbs. Like the only time I'll use my thumbs are to.
Oh, yeah, no.
I know. It's terrible. And I'd like to talk about playstyles and things like that because I think it's very interesting. But basically, the only time I'll move for my left, I'm 1P.
Yeah.
So if I have a 1 and 2 chord, I'll move my thumb up and do the 1 and 2 chord properly.
Yeah.
I'm learning now if I have a 4 and 5 to also do 4 and 5 with my thumbs, with my thumb and my index.
Yeah.
I used to like twist my fingers like this.
Whoa!
Bad.
Whoa!
And made it very hard for like other things that were happening on 6 and 7.
Yeah, man.
Wow. But so yeah, like my timing is like I can AAA like a bunch of 9s and some 10s.
Yeah.
But I can't. I pass like 7 11s or 8 11s or something like that. And they're so hard for me.
Well,
such
I
a
mean,
ball.
if you want to get up there and start clearing all the 11s, you really got to get that thumb working, man. I mean, everyone's probably told you this already. I mean, I'm just hitting the point home. Like, the thumbs are so important for playing. But like,
I really need to like. It's basically it's a comfort thing right now. Like if I basically because I can get better scores by not using my thumb because obviously I'm not used to it. So like when I'm trying to pass like for like 8s and stuff, I'm like, well, this song's easy enough that I don't have to use my thumbs. But with 10s, I like flail and fail when I do use my thumbs because I'm so not used to it. So it's like I gotta figure out like a good way to actually practice.
Here's the thing: you've got to go back, and on those 8s where you're like, well, it's so easy, I don't have to. That's when you really should be using it because that's where the patterns are simple enough where you can actually, process it and go, okay, 5 key, got to use my thumb right now. And it just sticks from there. Like, you go slow and you ramp up. Like, if you try and do the difficulties that you're used to with that technique, then you're just going to, as you said, flail around. You're not going to know what you're hitting. And, you're gonna hit that wall. So, I would highly recommend to just go back a few levels. This is what I say to everyone. Go back a few levels. Get that thumb stuck on 5, and I guarantee you within 2 or 3 weeks, you're going to be clearing so much more stuff than you thought you were going to clear originally.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that, like, basically it was like, we didn't have DDR, we didn't have the new DDR here yet, and so it was the way, like, my music game fix was, like, playing 2DX a bunch. Now we have DDR here, and so now, spending less time on 2DX and more time on DDR, but I still, like, I did try to, like, even though there's a massive line Figgle all the time, I went there yesterday and I tried to get a game in, I failed Osambashi.
I've heard that, SVGL is massive, like, the community is very large there, like the 2DX.
Even with a bunch of private machines in the area, there's still a decent number of people that show up to Figgle.
It's really good to hear that, because, like, when you go to Timeout in Melbourne now, there's just no one there, and it's the saddest thing to see, like, just how things have declined. It's good to hear that things are still going strong up there in NorCal. But I wanted to ask about like your ideas about the game, because I mean obviously you've gone in, you've got all of this experience with dancing games and ITD and things like that. What was it like coming into 2DX where it's not 4 keys, it's suddenly like 7 and a turntable? Like, what was the hardest thing for you like coming into the game? Because obviously timing was quite straightforward for you coming in.
Right. I think the biggest thing, and I still kind of gripe about this, the biggest thing that I find is weird is the turntable. Like, I think, like, for almost every game you have, like, okay, I hit button, you have a tactile response for the button, and so you get feedback on whether or not you hit it. Same thing for DDR, for Poppin', and for 2DX keys. And then you have the turntable, which like, it's like an analog type thing, right? So it's like, it's, there's a varying amount of force that you can put on it for it to respond. Like, especially with scratches back and forth, like, I can't time scratches back and forth to save my life. And a lot of times I'll get, like, one bad, and that basically means that I get a stream of bads, and I fail out, or whatever. So, it's a very weird bit of input that is, like, almost unique. Like, now sound voltex and stuff, you could argue that the turntable knob, or the effector knobs are similar. But, I mean, you think about pretty much, like, even, like, stuff like Reflect Beat or Technica, which is a touchscreen, touchscreen based, like, you still, like, have a place you hit, right? Yeah. Even if you don't get, like, necessarily, like, feedback from it. So, I think 2DX is almost unique in having the turntable element. It's very strange and hard to get used to, for me.
Yeah. And, I mean, like, just adjusting to that, I mean, I don't know, like, changing playstyles and things like, because, I mean, with stuff like in the groove, like you play fairly static. I mean, flat-footed and stuff like that. With Poppin', you got a rough idea, but with 2DX, you got to sort of change your technique all the time. Have you found that like to be another difficult aspect to it? Because I mean, on most games you can play relatively static. So
yeah, it hasn't been as much of an issue for me. Like, I guess I don't think about moving, like. you know, I don't know what the optimal playstyle or the optimal strategy is, but like it's clearly not like I use these 3 fingers for 1, 2, and 3, and these 4 fingers for 4, 5, 6, and 7. Like you definitely move around depending, especially if turntable things are happening. You have to kind of let your right hand take over for your left hand, or vice versa. So, but I find that like it's one of those things that seems to come more naturally to me, where I can like, you know, if I have to, let's say I have like 1, 3, 5, 7 chord with turntable. Like I'll hit the turntable in 1 with, you know, my left hand, and I'll do like a 3 chord 1, 2, 3 for the 3, 5, and 7. So like I shift over a little bit, and that seems like that transition's fairly smooth.
Oh, that's good to hear. All right, well, yeah, because I feel like when I first came into 2DX, because I play a bit of DDR, and I mean a lot of people have come from DDR. They said the hardest thing to get used to is just like finding a play style that works, finding a way to hit all of the keys comfortably. And I think that is the biggest thing to get down with the game before you start. And I mean, if you start with bad habits, it's really hard to break out of them. I mean, ask anybody. I mean, if you look at players like I don't know, I'm sorry to like, you know, isolate people, but Ryu Saigi or whatever, like DJ Ryu, he's like solely concentrating on his left hand, but he's a 2-player side player. So when he's got anything dense with scratches, he can't do it. And it's just because of the habits that he's built, like, from the start, where he's been, like, right-hand dominant. So, I think, the biggest thing is just to sort of, like, get in with those good habits early. If you want some ideas about technique, I don't know if you've seen, I've got a video on technique, which is, pretty well referenced. I go over most of the techniques that are used, so, yeah, if you're ever looking for a reference, I've got one of those on my YouTube, and, I'll link it to you afterwards. I mean, it might be helpful for you. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I'm looking, you know, like, I've been trying to look at, like, when I was talking to Kevin yesterday, I was like, do you mind if I watch you while you play, right? So, like, because he's also a 1P player.
Kevin's really, really good. Like, his technique is very similar to mine. So, yeah, like, Kevin's a good one to learn on. Brian, I'm not so sure. Brian has a really, really strange technique.
Well, but he's 2P, so I don't, like, I don't even consider, like, there's a lot of my friends who, like, are 2P and are good, but I can't actually, like, learn anything from them because it's just I can't just mirror it.
Well, you can. I mean, you can mirror it. If you take the same concepts and flip them over, it makes sense. But, I understand what you mean. Like, learning from 1P side players about 1P styles is probably the best way to do it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, as I said, good habits. It's the one thing that you really need to get to. I'll keep going. So we've done technique. What about... Okay, I'm just curious. Did you play DJ Technica before this? Because I remember...
Yes.
I talked to Zythar and it was like, oh, there's this guy named ICNH who's just like raping the rankings and stuff like that. So I'm just wondering, when Technica sort of died, which was 2 years ago, did you transition more into 2DX from there? Because
I guess so. Like it was. So I played Technica very seriously. Again, this was when I came to California, and I didn't. There weren't like Spiegel had a DDRX cabinet, which is garbage. And I didn't know anyone in the community that I know now that had a machine. And so basically, like to get my music game fixed, I went to Spiegel and I played Technica. And so I got really good at. I was like the best US Technica player for Technica 2, and then Technica 3 came out, and I didn't really like Technica 3, so I kind of gave up on it. And so when it, but then I started like around the time that I stopped caring about Technica was around the time that I met people. Like I met my friend Mark, who has a DDR and a 2DX machine. So I started going over to his place and playing one of the two. So I guess you could say that like when I stopped caring about Technica, I cared more about 2DX.
And just out of curiosity, you said you went to Japan. How long ago was your trip to Japan? Was it last year or the year before?
So I did take a trip over spring break this year, but last year I was there for 3 months. It was from the end of March to the middle of June.
Okay, and what area were you in?
I was in Kyoto.
Kyoto. See, I live in between like Tokyo and Kyoto, and I never hear when players come here. Like if I'd known, I would have been like, oh my god, I want to go like play some DDR with DJ, you know.
I tried to post about it a little bit, but yeah, no, like it's I wasn't as it was like some people didn't know that I was coming, but I tried to I only knew a few people in Japan, so I tried to let them know like personally.
Ah, damn. Well, if you ever want to have another trip out, you know, like I'm here.
I should be coming in June, actually.
Well,
I'm taking a little graduation gift for myself that's going over there.
Oh, well, where are you planning on going to? Like just like Tokyo area or?
I have no idea. So I love Kyoto. but I do. So I have a friend in Hokkaido that I want to see.
Oh, that's nice.
And then I also kind of feel like I should like just buy a JR pass, like just bite the bullet and just ride around, like travel all around. So go
Absolutely.
to Tokyo, go to. I want to see Nagoya. Like
Nagoya, I'm
there's a bunch of places.
I'm 1 hour out from Nagoya, so if you want to play surprise and if you want to see a bit of Inaka while you're here, come down.
That sounds good. I'll probably hit you up for that because that sounds like a great idea.
It's a great area. I've got to tell you, like this area is fantastic. So yeah, by all means, please come. I would be honored, and like just to play some dancing games with you would just be like a dream.
Yeah, definitely.
Get on that top record. Actually, yeah. So what do you think of the arcades here and the communities here in Japan in comparison to like the States? Because you were here for 3 months. You got a rough idea of what it was like.
So in a lot of ways, I wish that the community in the U.S. was more like the communities in Japan. It sounds kind of bad to say it that way, but
no.
You have basically like, so I'm playing DDR for a bunch, and basically all at 2 or 3 o'clock, these schoolgirls like come up the escalators at round 1, and they go and they play DDR and they play light songs with each other, and they play like 1 round, and then they open up their purses and they take like a little handkerchief type thing and they dab their foreheads for the sweat, and then they walk away. And then right behind them are Poppin' players, like, especially female Poppin' players that are 1,000 times better than I am at Poppin'. I'm like perfect hitting like 44s and 45s.
There's some incredible female players, isn't there?
you have this incredible diversity, and you have like not like in terms of people and in terms of skill level.
Yeah.
So you'll have people of all sorts of like, especially like male and female that are playing. Yeah. And you'll have people who don't necessarily care how well they do, but they play anyway, and they play to have fun. And I feel like that's the most integral part. And so many people are like, oh, I won't play in an arcade because I'm scared or I'm nervous for the people around me, or I'm not going to play 2DX because I'm not going to get any good. I can only do 6s right now, and I'm never going to get as good as Kaiden.
That's all
and
the worst
I'm like,
thing.
but it's the mindset. Like, everyone in Japan seems to have this mindset of like, I'm going to have fun and I'm going to get better.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, it will come in time.
Yeah.
And people in the U.S. sometimes seem to shy away from those sorts of ideas. They just want to get good without necessarily putting in the work. And this isn't to hate on people, but
no, it is very true. I mean, a lot of people just don't want to go and play at the arcade because they've got that fear and that sort of intimidation of, well, people are going to watch me and they're going to think, oh, this guy sucks. But I mean, anytime I watch someone, I'm just like, oh wow, that guy's improving or whatever, because I go regularly, and it's not like that. People don't look down on you if you're not doing well. I mean, obviously, like if you got someone around your level and you're being competitive, then you're gonna be like, oh, I could beat that guy. But if it's a new player, you're not just gonna go like, hey, you suck. Like
exactly,
it's not gonna happen.
No one does that.
Yeah, like
and people are sometimes surprised, like and. I'm not sure, who propagates this, but a lot of times people think that like better players are elitist, and people are surprised when, I try to help someone out, like teach someone a new song or a new technique of some way to do a chart or a song in DDR, and they're like, wow, you're helpful, you're not actually like an asshole like everyone else seems to be. And I'm like, I don't, sometimes people, it seems like newer players are intimidated by the better players because they think that they're like, sometimes the better players like scoff when there's like a player that walks in that's gonna like take up their time or something. People just get in these like weird attitudes and weird mindsets, and it's not very helpful.
I think people need to sort of realize that like there's good and bad in every community. I mean, there are going to be players who aren't helpful, and there are going to be players who are always going to be very supportive, and that's just, you always get a mixed bag. And out of curiosity, I'm just wondering, what do you think of the 2DS community compared to the dancing game community? I'm curious about this.
I was thinking about this like an hour ago because I'm so there's the DDR and ITG players group on Facebook, and I'm a mod of that, and like just there have been like this string of shitty posts recently, and all I want to say is like, why can't you guys be like the 2DX group? Like the 2DX group is like the nicest people. Like everyone just posts their pictures, everyone says congrats and whatever. And here I have people that are like hating on each other and like arguing, and I'm like, just shut up. Like I'm gonna delete you and ban you. Like stop it. Behave. That's not necessarily completely indicative of the entire community, but in a large way, like I think the 2DX community is very nice. Like some of my best friends consider themselves to be like primarily 2DX players. and it's good. I mean, I think you have, again, you're gonna have a mixed bag, like you said.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are gonna be a little more annoying on the more annoying side. Some people are gonna be, but I think by and large, there's. I hate to compare, like, because a lot of these people are my friends, and I don't want to compare friends, but I do have a lot of friends in the 2DX community now, and I think that it's a lot of people want to see you get better, and that's a good thing. That's what motivates me sometimes. Is I want to get as good as some of my friends that I see around me.
Yeah, I won't lie. I'm actually scared for any like top-ranking ITG player that comes into 2DX because I mean, you obviously know Damien. Like I've forgotten, like Damien, the guy who played in the group.
Back in the day, yeah.
Yeah, he transitioned into 2DX, and within like I think it was 2 years, he was AAA in 12s. I was disgusted.
What's happening with Derek right now?
Yeah, Dicky is ridiculous.
He is like I don't understand. Like he's so good. He plays all the time though. Like he's definitely like he puts in the hours for it. You know.
He's got the mentality, and I mean that's the main thing about being in the group players because they know it's a hard road to go from going from the start to get up and progress. So they're willing to put in the time and the hours, and they've got that experience. And that's the main comparison I want to look at today because I mean coming in from dancing games, as I said, most people have done it, but from an era where it wasn't as competitive. I mean we're talking years and years ago. We're talking like pre 2004, like just. Yeah, going from just being like, oh, well, I can clear max 300 to, okay, what's this 7-button game? And then just having your mind blown to, like, having a very good concept of music games. Like, I mean, you've got a lot of experience. As you said, you've done Poppin', you've done Technica, you've done Reflect Beat. And as you said, like, it's very unique. So, I don't know, I guess the main thing I wanted to look at is, like, how are you approaching the game at the moment in comparison to, like, all the other games? Or how you have approached other games?
Yeah, it's kind of 2DX is unique for me.
Yeah.
So, 2DX is the only game where I've had to kind of define better goals for myself because it's first of all the song list is massive. Things like what I used to do is like just like Technica. When I started Technica, like okay, I'm just gonna play every song.
Yeah.
You know, you can't necessarily do that for 2DX. Like, well, it takes...
You can, but oh my god, it takes so long.
It takes so long. And not only that, but every chart matters.
Yeah.
So it's not like DDR, where people usually only care about, like, expert and challenge charts.
Yeah.
No one cares if you AAA or MFC, like, a basic chart, at least in the US.
Yeah.
So 2DX, like, take, like, the, twice the size song list and then multiply it by 3 difficulties. Yeah. And you already have something that's on a scale of 6 times more massive than DDR. Yeah, as far as things, like, options you have while choosing a song.
Yeah.
And so, like, I have to give better, like, really, like, realistic goals for myself and kind of, like, smaller goals for myself. Like, hard clearing all the 8s. There's 260 songs in that folder, right? So, like, that took me a long time. It took me weeks, playing. I had a machine. Even if I had the machine to myself, hours and hours and hours. So, and now it's like I'm not entirely sure where to go, just because, like we mentioned earlier, like I'm trying to fix my playstyle.
Yeah.
And so, like I'm trying to pass a few 11s, but it's clear that like I don't want to just kind of like BS pass 11s. I want to feel confident in passing them.
You've really got to put in like the hours to get to 11s, and I mean that's a really tough transition, and a lot of people hit a wall at this point if they are doing something wrong. And I don't mean to like well you're wrong, but like
no,
it's a clear indication that like something needs to change, and as I said, like it probably is within your play style, and my advice to you would just be go back to like 7s, get that thumb down solidly, and just spend a few weeks on it. Like go back, try and just perform at the same level, and it will take a while. I mean, I did the same thing. I played exactly like you for like all the way up to where you are now, and I had the exact same problem. Where I was like, okay, there is no way I'm going to get to 11 doing this.
Yeah.
So I would highly recommend the transition. You'll get there. You'll get there. In fact, I'm actually very.
I have to, like, if I put more hours into it, like, so I'm planning on, when I get my own place, I'm planning on buying a 2DX machine. And so that's when you, like, I hope that you'll be scared then. Because I am going to actually be able to put in the hours. Like, it's a little bit of a drive to get to my friends' places to play there, or at Spiggle's crowded, things like that, so. If I have a place in my garage, I'm gonna.
I'm just curious. So you don't have a home setup or anything? You don't have a controller or?
I do have a home setup. I actually broke it out recently, so I move every year basically.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
In Stanford, they assign me a new place to live every year.
Yeah.
So like a lot of times I set up everything and then I never touch it. So then over the years, like I've like stopped setting it up.
I see.
But I did actually break it out a couple weeks ago, and I was like trying to get better. I tried to I cleared 8th Dan on like Red and Empress, and like trying to like just have something to do, play a few older charts that I may have remembered from CS Styles growing up. But
so you're not a member of Program Sun? You haven't got like the HDD
no,
or anything?
I'd love to. I was like, hey, PSA to everyone who's watching, if you want to lend me a DAO, lend me a DAO. I can't. Basically, if I bought a DAO, I'd want to buy a doubles DAO in case I wanted to play doubles. And in that case, it's like $700 or $800. I'm like, you know what? I'll just buy a cabinet. Like, that's just basically the only constraint right now is I'm not working. But as soon as I start working, I'll have the money for it.
I won't lie. It's very difficult to find cabinets though. Like they don't come up very often.
I know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy.
Oh, so. You know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy. Well, if you want to let that guy get in contact with Canada, I'm pretty sure Canada wants to get a cabinet too. Because I mean, there are no machines in Canada, and Sigma bought the.
I can if you put some people in contact with me, I may be able to help you out. But
because I know there's people who would die for a cabinet. So yeah, I mean, absolutely. If you got the hookups. Although I'm just curious,
potentially. But
are we talking new cabinets or are we talking old cabinets?
Depends. I know a friend who just bought a cabinet that was a Spada machine. So it has a Spada marquee, it has Spada pops, it has a Spada like instruction.
It's got the inbuilt readers. It must have the Spada everything.
It's wave path. Well, it's not. They're not inbuilt readers. It's actually. So sorry. It was an upgraded Spada machine from Japan. I think it was from like the Troopers era or something.
Okay, so it's a Troopers machine. Yeah.
So it was. It does have the readers on the side, but it's wave pass.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's all new. Wow. That's
I haven't seen any of the. I haven't seen the built-in reader machines come up for sale, but I have seen.
Very new, and I think that Konami's only leasing those. They're not actually selling them.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can get one without. Well, yeah. Like paying an arm and a leg to get one leased out here, which is totally not going to happen. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Okay. But yeah, so that's a thing.
It will happen. It will happen.
It'll happen eventually. Like eventually, I want to have the trifecta. I want to have DDR, Pop-In, and TDX.
Yeah, that is the ultimate trifecta. I mean, if I had those at home, I would never leave the house. I don't think. I mean, yeah. So yeah, obviously you got the machines. Obviously you got DDR, and you said you're coming back here. So what's the dream? I'm just wondering, like, where do you want to be with 2DX? You want to be as good as you are at dancing games at 2DX, or is it sort of just like a side thing with you?
Good question. So DDR is always going to be my number one. So if I'm better at 2DX than I am at DDR, like that probably means I need to play DDR more. I think the dream is Kaiden. I'd love to be Kaiden.
Well,
I know it's a long ways off. I know it's a lofty dream, but you gotta dream big.
The thing is, it's not that impossible. As I said, if you put in the hours, and if you are committed to Kaiden, you will get Kaiden. I have not put in the hours for Kaiden. I am not Kaiden yet. So.
I think like 10th Dan would be really cool. I think but a lot of people are 10th Dan. So
you can do 10th Dan. 10th Dan is.
I can get. What's the third song in 9th right now? I can get to the third song in 9th.
Polynosis, I think. Maybe Polynosis. I know the last one's Sampling Paradise, but
I forget what the.
It's like Shade, Polynosis, something.
I know. So it's the first one. It's Zed, bounce, bounce, bounce.
Oh, they changed it. Okay. I'm thinking of what should we call it? I'm thinking of Tricoro 9th Dan. So it's changed.
Oh yeah. They changed a bunch. I know they changed 8th Dan a bunch. Now Garden's in 8th Dan, which is I like Garden.
Garden's a song. Yeah. No, I agree with you there. Let me think. Okay, so we've covered that. We've covered home setups. We've covered like mentality. So let's see. I'm running out of stuff to ask. Honestly, I mean, you've covered your bases very well. Usually, like I get on a massive tangent rant with like the other players, but I mean, you've been very direct about the questions, which is great. But yeah, I mean, I guess from here, because I've basically covered what I wanted to cover, guys. I'll turn to the chat. There's 16 people in chat, which is pretty good. Not compared to your charity stream, which probably had like thousands and thousands of people. But,
Oh God, no! It was like 100 people.
Still, 100 people is amazing.
It was nice. It was nice.
Guys, if you have any questions for ICNH or Jeff Lloyd, yeah, feel free to ask him. But yeah, okay, so I've got a question for you, because I haven't been playing dancing games very often, but I mean, I was hitting a decent, like a decent-ish skill level. I was passing 15s, I'm in the groove. I double A'd basically every 15. I mean, once you reach that point where, you know, you've got to nail down the timing, and what would you suggest for that, like with dancing games? Like, when you've just like, you've got an idea about all the charts, you know them, you're quite familiar. How do you break that wall and start getting your scores to increase further?
Yeah. So this is kind of more of a timing thing, but like just in general across games.
Yeah.
The way I think about it is, and this is like really hard, and I've tried to like explain this to people, but I feel like it doesn't come across the way it comes across in my head. But I'll try anyway. Yeah. So basically, like let's say the song is like at 150 BPM, and you're stepping at 150 BPM. Like as soon as you get a notice, like you get a perfect in DDR, or like just a normal great in 2DX or something, that means you're doing something wrong and you should adjust. But what people like, the thing you need to do is like recognize exactly how much you were off and shift your entire global offset, like in your brain, to correct itself. Because like if you stepped a little bit early, you don't want to like start stepping later and later, because then you're gonna get back on, but then you're gonna drift off to the other side. So what I always think about is like, if I get a great or a perfect or something like that, then I will like immediately, and the faster the better, because the more quickly you can react to recognition, the better. Is like, you know, like adjust the global offset in your brain, and it's really weird to say, and I'm sorry, it's not very clear to describe it.
I
that's how I
understand what
think
you're
about
trying to say, but interestingly, I've got to say, I take the opposite approach. Like, I say to people playing TDX, if you get like a slow or two, don't adjust, because what I find most people do, if they've got fast slow on, is they overcompensate. And then they undercompensate, and then they overcompensate, and then their timing is just all over the place. I usually tell people just try and stay consistent with what you're doing, unless you're getting like 80% slows, then you can adjust. But
so it's different. You're right. It's different for 2DX because 2DX you have many more notes. The thing is with DDR, if you have a song that only has 200 steps in it, which isn't uncommon for even easier expert charts, you can't afford to let a couple notes go by where you get perfects. Like at least for me, like if I'm basically like the song that I'm playing that has 200 or 300 steps in it has, you know, the world record's like a perfect or two. And so if you don't, like if I don't adjust fast enough, and even if I mess up once, like sometimes that spells like I will not get the world record. I won't MFC it, you know, and that's sometimes the thing I'm trying to do.
Yeah, no, it's crazy at that level.
Yeah.
I'm interested about the timing of DDR in comparison to 2DX, because I know, obviously, in the groove, timing was like so wide. Like, I can't even compare
it's... So the timing window, so ITG uses millisecond-based timing windows.
Yeah.
So they have a 16 millisecond window for Fantastics.
Yeah. How many frames is that, out of curiosity?
It's about... what is it?
I know 2DX is...
It's like a frame and a half.
Frame and a half? Both ways? So. Are you sure?
No, wait.
It's gotta be like, because 2DX, the just great window is 2 frames. So the perfect great window is within 2 frames of the note. So
I always get messed up on it, because I thought that the just great window was 1 frame.
No, it's 2. I'm pretty sure, if I read correctly. I mean, yeah.
Because I think the marvelous frame in DDR is supposed to be 1, and the perfect frame is 3.
Oh, okay, well that makes sense. Because I know that the perfect window is larger than the just great window, but the marvelous window is like super tight.
Yeah. So that's probably maybe just great is 2, because that would make sense. So yeah, because I know that marvelous is 1 frame, and perfects is 3 frames, and I don't care about greats. And greats are unacceptable.
Yeah, same thing here. Yeah, so obviously it is tighter than the 2DX window, because I was wondering, every time that I play DDR, because I don't play very regularly, same thing with you, I'm like the opposite. If the 2DX machine's busy and, you know, I'm feeling up to it, I'll play around a DDR just to just for the hell of it. But that window is so rough to time in, like in comparison to 2DX. I thought, wow, like, no, if I get a 2DX-esque ratio on a dancing game, I'm really happy. Like, it's so tough trying to get those Marvelous. So
yeah, Marvelous is like, I had to put in the time to get Marvelouses. I was not very good at getting Marvelouses. Like, I could get perfect full combos, but I was bad at getting the perfect count low.
yeah,
And it took me pretty much like, 2 months of playing straight in Japan. Like, only towards the end of my Japan trip did I really start to like, I started to get some good MFCs, and I started to
I think,
really like bring the perfect count down.
If you kept going, I reckon you would be noticed in Japan, because they said that the scores that you were getting within that 3-month period were on par, if not better, than top ranking players. And
Yeah, I mean, I hate tooting my own horn, but like I had the best players in Japan telling me, "You are the best player in Japan right now." Like, so I went to
Wow.
like Osaka a couple times. I don't know if you know Brosoni.
Yeah, oh, you met Brosoni.
Brosoni. Yeah, me and Brosoni are pretty good friends. So like,
Oh, wow.
I went to Osaka a couple times and hung out with him and played DDR until 5 a.m. until the network shut down.
Wait, the network
So-
shuts down at 5?
Sorry, what?
The network shuts down at 5 in the morning?
Yeah, so they do. For whatever reason, Konami has mandatory server maintenance from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. And the round one we would go to in Osaka
It wouldn't close.
it stays open 24 hours
Which
on
one
weekends.
did you go to? Did you go to Nampo or did you go to Ueda?
I went to Hirano.
You know.
That's where everyone played. I just
okay.
people told me we're gonna be here. I said okay, wherever that is, I'm going.
Yeah,
It's actually close to a Supernova 2 machine, and so there were a bunch of. I'm on like a AAA PFC rampage.
Yeah.
I was more last year, but I'm trying to get back into it. Where
Yeah.
just trying to PFC as many songs from as many games as possible
Oh, wow.
on
okay.
as many styles as possible. So basically, there was a bunch of licenses and a bunch of removed songs from Supernova 2 era. So they had a machine that was 100 yen for 2 credits.
Oh, wow.
Each credit was 5 songs,
Oh, wow. Some
and
credits.
like an hour and 15-minute walk north of that Hirano round one.
Yeah.
So I would go to Osaka in the beginning of the day.
Yeah.
I would play at that Supernova machine and get a bunch of PFCs that I needed to check off
Yeah.
my list. And then I walked all the way to Hirano and then stayed up until 5 a.m. until the train started back up and the network shut down.
How are you still standing at the end of that day? That's what I want to know.
It was, God, it was like sleeping on the train on the way home, but not really because I didn't want to miss my stop.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's crazy, man.
It was, so like when I say like I was in my prime then, like that's what I feel like, because I could do that. And
Put in those hours, man. Seriously.
And since, then I came back, and we just didn't have DDR 2013 in the US until February. And even then, we didn't get it until in NorCal until March.
Yeah.
And so it was basically like a 9-month period of me like playing a little bit of DDR, but not really seriously, because that's all I wanted to play was like play the newer stuff, because that's what I was like so used to, and that's where I felt like my progress was coming from the most.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay. So I was thinking inside of like how many hours you were playing, and God. I mean, I played TDX yesterday. Was it yesterday? No, the day before yesterday for 6 hours. And after that, I was just like, no, I can't keep going. I'm exhausted. I don't know how you play dancing games for, 12, 13-hour stints. And just,
Yeah, it's just, I mean, like, you do, like, it's not straight, like, I was taking breaks and stuff, go out to dinner or whatever, but, I don't know, I've built up a certain endurance for my sessions, not necessarily during games. Like, I feel like since my ITG days, I used to be able to do Dragon Force stuff and 16-footers and stuff.
Yeah.
And so, like, I can't do that anymore. Like, for a short song, like, for a song period, I can't do that,
Yeah.
but I can do it over the span of 12 hours. Like, I can, play a set and then cool off a little bit and then play another set and cool off.
Damn, man. Seriously. Just like, I understand, because I did play dancing games, but at that level, at that intensity, for that amount of time, it's just mind-blowing. I just wonder, do you ever get tired playing 2DX? I'm curious about this.
Yes. Okay. So that never happened to me before.
Yeah.
There was a time when I went over to my friend Daniel's and I played for I played for a long time, like 8 or 10 hours or something.
Yeah.
And like this part of my hand was aching. Like just the whole pinky area on my right hand.
Yeah.
I was destroyed for like 2 days. I was like, ow, it hurts to like grasp things.
Well,
It was nuts. Like it was like an after kind of effect. Like I had to stop because I wanted to keep playing, but it just hurt so much.
I think it's a point that Derek brought up, DJ Rhea. Obviously you've seen DJ Rhea. He's massive into the community. And he said if you're hurting from playing, then you're probably doing something wrong. So,
that may be true.
So yeah, you might want to.
But I've heard people say that like that's like building up the pinky strength. If I don't because I wasn't using it before and suddenly like I was using it more for harder songs and for like changing play styles, and so it just wasn't used to it, and it actually hasn't hurt since.
Oh, that's good.
I think it was just a little like my pinky wasn't used to like being worked out that much, and then suddenly it.
Oh yeah. Well, it's good. I mean, if you start using pinky, that's a good transition too. I mean, very good for stamina. It's basically like flat footing in comparison. Like using your toe to your heel. It saves you so much stamina on your right hand.
Yeah.
Do that. All you need now is that thumb, and you'll be golden.
That's
all you need. That right thumb. That
both thumbs.
Thumb. Yeah, exactly. So I haven't seen any questions. It's just people talking about 2DX and DDR. It's very interesting because a lot of people making some comparisons to it. But,
yeah. So I did see someone asked about my someone asked about my name, where it came from.
Yeah, absolutely, please.
So oh god. So back in DDR Freak, this is the days of DDR Freak in like 2003 when I started playing. I registered as DDR Master 7, which is a bad name, very bad name. Yeah. Considering most people, like I sat down one day and I was like, how can I be DDR Master 7 if there are like a million other people that are better than me? And so I changed I was like staring at the change your name box in the forums, and I was like, I don't know. And I put brackets, so it started with brackets. Yeah. So there's like an open bracket, and then insert creative name here, close bracket. I was like, because that's all I could think of. Was like, I have no names to think of. So that I just hit submit, that was my name. And so, but the thing is, over the years, like registering for different forums or different things, like I've had to drop the brackets because a lot of things don't support it. Like you can't have your Twitch username have brackets in the top. So that's just ICNH. And so, yeah, that's kind of where it started, and it's stuck because people know me by that now. I have a couple other different names that I go by. I like using my favorite right now is Fungah. Fungah. I have that. That's like my name on Battle.net. I play Hearthstone. But if I could go back in time, I would tell myself, use that name. Don't use the shitty name that like when you search for on YouTube, like it's like, did you mean inch? It's like, God, like no one knows what, like no one can search for my videos, like if you're not looking for my videos.
Yeah. It's really interesting though, because unlike most players, like your normal name has become well known as well. Like people say, oh man, Jeff Lloyd. Like the name just has that ring to it. That Jeff Lloyd. I mean, like I wish I had that. Like, Daniel. If you say Daniel, like, wait, which one? There's like 8 Daniels that play 2DX. Like, you're very lucky in that regard. I mean, but like, I've always got it wrong, because I always read it in the stupid dyslexic way that I have. It's inch. And I was like, why did he call himself inch?
It's my fault. It's not your fault. It's definitely my fault. Like, I chose a shitty name.
So, it's alright, it's alright. Well, I mean, is there anything else that people... Oh, someone wants to know, do you use the bar in 2DX?
Oh yeah, all the time, all the time.
Bar, man, bar's cheating in 2DX. You can't use it, man. You're holding on to that bar, just... None of those triple A's matter.
Yeah. No, I don't think I have, I used to sit down. Serial has stools, and I used to sit at a stool, and then, I kind of grew out of that. I started doing more of a power stance thing.
Oh man, the power stance is the way. It is the American
The power
way.
stance is so funny. Like, I got so many pictures. Like, one of my friends, so he's a Canadian living in Japan. Yeah. I met up with him in Tokyo. Yeah. And he thought my power stance was so funny that he took a picture, because I guess he doesn't see it very often, because Japanese people are just typically shorter, so...
Yeah, so they all stand naturally. I mean, when you look at, like, the pictures that I took, everyone just looks fine when they're playing. They're standing straight. You look at any American person playing, and it's just like, boom, instant power.
I hit, like, the top of the monitor. Like, I need to, like, crash, like, I need to be down farther, and so... The power stance is like super helpful for me.
No, it's not just you, man. Like, so many people need power stance. I don't know if you've seen VJ Phoenix or Matt Bredica.
Yeah.
His power stance is like unreal. Like, it's so huge.
Some people do the side to side thing. Some people do the back and forth thing.
Yeah.
I think it's super cool to see how certain people do it.
I play relatively flat, but like I realized I kind of hunch a bit. I mean, I put up a video a few days ago, but like it was so like you back in 2005 when people used to bring their cameras to the arcade and like film from far away for the dancing games. I had to do that the other day. And I saw how much I hunched on the machine. I was like, oh, this looks terrible. Like I thought I looked fairly normal because like I'm not super tall or super short, but oh man, that hunching just looks so. It looks like I'm some kind of gorilla playing the machine. Just like, I need to break out of habits. Maybe I need to break into the power stances. I don't know. But yeah, all the Japanese players, they just look so natural. There's this one guy named Kude, who's around the same level as DJ Phoenix. But when he stands, he looks completely natural. Just like, yeah, whatever. I'm just like chilling here. And you can see Beast 12. He's got triple A's on like 80% of the 12s, and he looks completely normal. You look at anyone in the US who's playing, and they look so, like, pent up, or, I don't know, like... they've got a mission when they're standing at that machine. Just, oh, man. I love it.
I have, like, Mark, he doesn't even have the base stage attached.
Oh, wow, really?
So the base stage is...
That is a dream.
So it's, like, it's actually, like, I don't have to power stance as much. I still do a little bit.
Yeah.
But so it's pretty funny. Like it helps in a certain way. Like I'm fine, honestly. Like my stance, like I don't really notice a huge difference. But it's funny, you know.
It's funny for everyone. I would love to just start like I don't know, like a power stance album and have people add all of their power stances to it because it'd be funny to see. I reckon. Very very funny.
Yeah, definitely.
Alright, is there any other questions for Jeff? Because we're running towards the hour mark, and I don't want things to, like, well, as I said, like, you know, it's about an hour. Last interview I did, like, it spiraled out of control. It went for, like, an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes, so, yeah, I want to keep it, like, because I know you're a busy man, you've got a schedule, and,
I mean, I'm fine, I don't really have too much going on, so I'm cool hanging out and answering questions and talking, and, like, you can rack my brain, I don't mind too much. I just wanted to like have a general idea of
no, I wanted to ask you because as I said, like upcoming players from other music games who are very very skilled is like an interesting topic because obviously you've got different mindsets to people who have come in blind just from like not playing anything or coming just directly from Technica, which I'm sorry to say, I mean Technica's a learning game. It's not. it's very different.
Technica's really weird. Like Technica is like. It was, first of all, it wasn't played by very many people, especially good people.
Yeah.
And so we had to figure out the game, like how it works, because the game is like buggy as anything.
I've heard that you got to touch the screen before you start some songs, otherwise you will miss the first note. I was like, what?
It's really, I don't remember that. Maybe in Technica 1 that was a thing, but like there are certain notes in Technica where, like, if you hit them right on, you will miss. But if you like drag and you drag to it, it'll be fine.
That's
like so basically the game was like and I loved that. Like I didn't mind it. Like I don't like the bugs. I wish the bugs didn't exist, but if they did exist, it was kind of fun like finding them and finding ways around them, right? So it's like sometimes, you know, me and my friend this guy Michael Hay, who's one of the better Technica players. He was like my biggest rival and we were going at it on the leaderboard for a long time. So he would basically teach me about a bunch of the glitches in the game and how to get around them. And it was always fun, like, being like, I always break at this point. Like, why is it? Well, is it because of this bug? Well, no, it's like not really, but what about this other bug? Oh, yeah, I was like, that could happen. Like, if you don't lift up your hold finger here, like, it'll break on that other note. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. And,
that's so
we basically have that conversation, like, daily.
I can see how that's fun, but at the same time, man, if your game's that broken that you're missing notes just because of a bug, it's like,
yeah, basically that's one of the reasons that I didn't like Technica 3 too much was because they didn't fix any of the bugs from Technica 2, and they expanded the song list like massively. Yeah. And so basically, like I felt like Technica 2 was manageable because you could like learn all the bugs and it wasn't too overwhelming.
Yeah.
But then you move to Technica 3 and it's like, not only do you have to remember all the bugs from the previous game, but you have like a bunch more that manifest themselves in like new ways. And it was just like, I did it, I was like, I already did this. Like it was, you know, it got too frustrating for me.
Yeah. I think with 2DX, I mean, we're lucky because they ironed out the bugs like 6 styles ago. So the game is very, very stable now, and there's not many issues that you have to sort of like go over. I mean, once you've got the techniques, you've got the techniques, and it's just a bunch of song lists. going through bugs and things like that must be the most frustrating thing. I could never get into Technica. I tried it. Like, before anyone like criticizes me, I did try it. I gave it a shot, but it's just, it's not for me. And I mean, this is coming from a guy who also enjoys playing reflecting. So it's not the touchscreen aspect of it. It's just the fact that the game itself was so broken, and that it made you grind so much. Just play
that's
songs.
true.
I just thought, no, I'm not going to put my time into this. This is just like money hungry.
Yeah,
Strategy.
it was a little bit like that. I definitely can understand that. I loved, even though the game was buggy, I liked the presentation of the game. I think Technica has some of the best presentation
it was a beautiful game.
any game in the music game. Like, I think it's probably the best as far as visually appealing. It is beautiful. Like, the interface is gorgeous. The backgrounds are artistic and
a lot of
wonderful.
Came from the original DJ Max, though. I mean, the original DJ.
Oh, sure. So this might be more of a statement on DJ Max than it is about Technica, but I think as from a production standpoint, I think it looks professional as hell, and I love it. Whereas, like, you know, sometimes you have like 2DX. I don't want to harp on it too much, but it probably could look a little bit better. I think it's gotten better.
I think since the revamp, with the HD revamp and all of that sort of stuff, it has improved, but at the same time, it's not like Technica where everything has its own background video. Every video is so detailed.
I really love that. Like,
that was fantastic, but I mean, at the same time, if you consider how vast the song list is, it's kind of impossible to do that. And I mean, like, I understand why they slapped generic videos in, but yes, in the same breath. I mean, there are graphical things which I think they could improve. And I mean, I don't know. On that topic, I'm interested. What would you think would be like the number one thing for them to change graphically? Because I mean, I've been around for a long time and I've seen how ugly the game was, and to me, like, this new generation is just like amazing. So and this is, I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of flack from people in chat about me being a new school player. Like, so basically, like, I guess you can say I started on Red. Yeah.
And I really can't play older mixes. Like, so for the first thing, like, they definitely, like, made the game, like, go from unplayable looking to playable looking.
Yeah.
Like, around, what was it, like, 10th or 11th or...
No. 9 styles where they changed the interface.
9 style, okay.
So
yeah, that was the first step, I think. I think, like, honestly, I do like the background videos. I wish they would make unique background videes for every song. Yeah. I know that's kind of, like, a lot to ask, but, like, you look at, like, Poodle. God, I love Poodle.
Oh, Poodle's great.
Like, Poodle has a great background video. Like, and it's so fun. Like, it's so, like, it's just kind of lighthearted. Like, it reflects very much the song.
Yeah, no, it's great.
And even though, like, they have a bunch of songs, like, if they had made background videos very incrementally, like, if they had made them every style, it would only be a few, like, per style in the grand scheme of things.
But now it's just too big a task. Like,
it would be, like, to backfill, to go to the 500 songs that don't have them and add them, yes, that is totally, like, an undertaking. But if they had done it from the start, it would be manageable, I think.
Well, it's interesting, though, because there are some songs which did have videos which they removed. It just blows my mind. Like,
really?
Yeah. Like, for example, what was it? Since 2007, used to have a video. Then they took it out for CS, and then they put it back in. And I'm just like, why did you guys do that? Just leave the video there. Everyone loves it. Everyone likes looking at those milks. But yeah, like, I don't know. They're very funny with videos, and and they are trying. I mean, they added the video for Lovely Radio from DDR.
Yeah, I thought that was super cool. Like, I had no idea that was a thing.
Dude, Lovely Radio gets called out so much on DDR here. Oh my god, everyone plays it.
Yeah, so I'm bad. Like, I kind of like that song. I hated it at first, and now I'm like, it's kind of cheery and
I heard
cute.
that you grinded it out a few days ago in front of Kevin. Like, Kevin said he's really having a go at Lovely Radio right now.
I played it yesterday a couple times. I played it twice yesterday. But yeah, no, like, during the charity stream, so many people, like, one of the requests, like, one of the first requests I had to do was, like, play Lovely Radio, and you have to do the nyan nyan, like, when she says it. And I'm like, god damn it.
I hate you guys.
I was like, fuck me. Like, so many people were like, play all the Prim songs. I'm like, god damn it.
The amount of Prim songs you must have played.
So there's only 2 in DDR right now, and one of them is Lovely Radio, the other is Beanball.
Yeah.
And I don't like Beanball. Beanball just doesn't sound like it's not a very good song.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of Prim, so I can't give my 2 cents. But I mean,
I don't think Lovely Radio is like the only Prim song I think I tolerate.
It's really surprising you got the same taste as DJ Rhea, because he's like, Lovely Radio is the best song of the game, the rest of Prim is just garbage. So, one interesting, I think I'm gonna like cut it around here, but before we do, there's someone who says, Jeff, I'm a cute girl, your dance skills are impressive.
Yeah, Don.
Yeah, no, Don's someone who I've interviewed in the past.
Thank you, Don. Don's a good friend of mine. Don likes to troll me a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Don, for giving your 2 cents. And thank you so much, Jeff. Like, as I said, I've always been a huge fan. It's really great to be able to talk to you in person, or sort of face-to-face, I guess. But yeah, thanks for taking the time out to talk to us about this. Love what you're doing with the community. You really are adding to it with like Festival West and things like that. So thank you so much for that. If by some chance I manage to get like a massive sum of money, I will try to attempt at some point to come down to the West.
That'd be awesome, man. If you ever if you fly out here and you need a place to stay, let me know. But I'd be more than just as you open your place to me, I'll do the same. It's always nice to get people in the community to meet up and actually hang out in person. Yeah. And in this age of everyone has their machines in their house and they never leave.
I can't believe that so many people own machines now.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But I mean, it's what happens when basically it's people are growing up, right?
Yeah.
When I was younger and starting out, being 16 and having a machine was not feasible. But being 23 and having a machine is totally feasible. I can set aside money and actually buy it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, seriously, get that machine. I want to see you I want to see you rank up. I want to see you
I'll probably go. I'm gonna go to Spiggle right now, maybe, and try to grind out some 2DX. See if I can get a little bit better.
Work on that thumb, man. That's the main.
I gotta work on those thumbs.
Just work on those thumbs, and you'll be alright. Alright, thanks heaps for that, and thank you guys for watching. Out of curiosity, because I always ask this at the end of the interviews, who do you think would be a good person to interview next in the community? What's a story that you'd like to hear?
Right, and is this a question for me or a question for chat?
For you. I mean,
oh God.
Are there any players who you want to hear their story of or anything like that? I mean, obviously you know a lot of players, but who do you think would be an interesting person to interview? Because I like getting ideas, so yeah, I got someone for the next week.
I don't really know. I don't know anyone else who's really breaking out into 2DX. That you already I think you've interviewed everyone, most people that I know. You've interviewed Don, you've interviewed Kevin.
Yeah.
Phoenix, right?
Phoenix is gonna come in July to Japan, so I'm gonna interview him live here in Japan.
Oh, that's nice.
So I'm holding out, and that's been requested so many times.
Yeah, I mean, those are the sorts of people I know. I try to, I don't know. I think I'm biased. I kind of like developing my own style of things.
Yeah.
And kind of, I'm a very score-driven person. I look at the score on the machine. That's what I want to beat, and I don't it's just how I get there I try to figure that out for myself. And that's kind of fun.
As I said, if you ever need any advice or any tips, I mean, you've got a really large information base at your fingertips.
Yeah, that's true.
You've got Kevin. As I said, I put videos up all the time about techniques and mentalities and scoring and general advice. So if you're ever looking at something like that, just check it out. I'd highly recommend it.
Awesome. Definitely will do.
But yeah, someone says Matt Magden. I wanted to get Matt Magden with you today, but I didn't hear from him at all. So.
Oh.
Yeah, that's on my list of plays to do. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I've got some plans. I've still got some players who I want to talk to, but yeah, I mean, it is really good to hear from upcoming players. And yeah, when I see in a year from now when you're AAA-ing 12s, I'm going to be so sad.
Yeah, okay.
It took me years to do, so... Yeah, alright, so thank you very much. For everyone else, while I've got enough people here, I just wanted to broadcast or advertise that there's going to be another card and colloquium on Wednesday. I haven't decided the time yet, but we're going to be doing a discussion about Pacelli. Now, I'm just wondering, Jeff, has there been any Pacelli-based stuff with DDR that's changed the game?
Yeah, so the 2014 update just pushed on the 12th, so earlier this week.
Yeah.
And that is, so you can pay normally 100 yen, whatever, but you don't get extra stage like TDX.
Yeah.
And there are now a series of unlockable songs called, in a group called Extra Attack. It's this new mode where an extra stage you get to unlock certain songs.
Yeah.
And those are only playable through Pacelli. Or like extra attack is only available through Pacelli.
Yeah.
Also, they added a bunch of speed mods. So they added actually like
0.25.
they added 0.25, 0.5, 0.75, 1.25, 1.75, and 2.25. Why they didn't do all of them, I don't know. But those mods are only Pacelli.
What?
Go figure.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So, like, it matters to me a lot. Like, I want to be able to play like Max Unlimited, like 1.75. Like, that's way better than playing it on 1.5 or 2.
2 is
and so
unreadable. So.
Yeah. So I'm definitely like I'm hype about the update, but and it doesn't really like I play with Pacelli all the time in Japan.
But they've
so
upped the price because of it. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I think
I don't mind it too much.
Yeah. Well, thanks for letting me know, because I wasn't sure what was happening with DDR. Anyway, yeah, so on Wednesday, I'm going to be discussing with the Cardans the impacts of Pacelli that's happened over the past couple of weeks, because I know that in America, you guys have had Program World Pacelli implemented, haven't you, on DDR as well? Or is that just 2DX?
I think Pacelli is... Oh, I don't know yet, actually.
Yeah.
I know it was rolled out for 2DX, but I can't imagine, like, it's like a service for everything, so I can't imagine it wouldn't also work for DDR.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I mean,
yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah. I want to know how it's impacted the game since it's been rolled out. And on top of that, I think, we're going to cover, like, the new charts, like, what's good, what's bad, what people think of it overall, and just... We're also going to cover... Have you been doing QPro DX by any chance?
I'm broken right now on Program World.
No.
So Tao has not fixed me yet, and so like I was like as soon as the update pushed, I played a game, and I got the platinum medal, and it's like, yep, you're done, and I don't have any. So I went through all of QProg, the original one.
Yeah.
And so I got everything, and I was like halfway through killing all the monsters on the third map.
Oh wow.
And so now I cannot get to QProg DX, and that kind of sucks because I want to unlock the new songs, but oh well.
Oh well, what can you do? Well. Damn, man, that's a shame. Anyway, guys, that's what we're going to focus on. The maps, the songs, Pacelli, and we've also got Hexagon joining us, so that's going to be interesting, because he's going to give some insight on how the Japanese are taking all this Pacelli bullshit. But yeah, I mean, bit of an interesting topic. That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and once again, thank you, Jeff. Like, as I said, really, really appreciate it. Thanks so much for joining.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you very much.